spooky friends. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. We're your horror besties here to dissect our favorite and not so favorite horror movies. I'm Emma, and joining me as always is the deadite Allison.
I'm a deadite?
I guess
that makes sense.
I mean, come on, you want to be one, right?
I feel like I am already.
Yeah, there you go.
In general. Hi, I'm Allie, the deadite.
Hello.
I am so excited. Today we're reviewing a film very close to our hearts, The Evil Dead. And it's specifically close to my heart because I first watched it with my big brother, David. And he's with us today.
David is here, you guys. Welcome, David.
Thanks for having me.
David,
hello, everybody.
We are so excited to have you. And just for everybody at home, David is not only, like you said, Alice, like a huge movie influence. We also talk to David all the fucking time about movies.
David is like basically a member of this podcast, and you guys don't even know it yet.
Thank you.
He's literally brought me up on horror. He is the reason I am a horror lover. So thank you, David.
Of course.
And thank you for being here today. Thank you for showing me The Evil Dead. So that was my first introduction. I know we love horror beyond The Evil Dead, but when we were young, you made me watch it at a very, very young age. I don't know. Do you remember how old you made me watch it?
Oh, well, see, I know for sure with you guys, it was backwards because that would probably be the right way to do it because Army of Darkness is by far the least scary and graphic of them all, right? And so Evil Dead 2 is a little funnier. It's a little more graphic, but it's the logical succession if you're going that way. And then I want to say I didn't show you Evil Dead until maybe you were in high school, which isn't as bad. I want to say. I don't know how accurate or not that is.
That sounds kind of accurate because just remembering and talking with you about how I think about this franchise, it goes in that order is Army of Darkness for kids. And then you got your training wheels with
with
Evil Dead 2. And then Army of Darkness or Evil Dead, The Evil Dead. There you go. It's wild to think that I'm not sure Mom and Dad knew you were showing me these movies.
Probably not.
But we had a household where you'd take Sam and I in your room and you were like, hey, don't tell Mom and Dad we're going to watch this. And then I would bring friends over and then show them those movies. So we were just creating horror lovers left and right.
I mean, that's just the logical progression, right? So love that.
Yes.
Love that for you guys.
You're weeding out the weak.
So what was your first time watching The Evil Dead?
Well, I tell you what. I remember long before any of you were around, when we were in Tierra Santa, there was the video store that Mom and Dad and I used to walk to all the time. And I was a kid terrified of this stuff. I was terrified of everything. So naturally, I'm curious to look at the horror movie section, right? All the boxes. And there's this one where it's a skull with eyes. And that's the most terrifying thing in the world to me. Lo and behold, that would end up becoming one of my favorite movies later on. That's Evil Dead 2. That's the original box art for Evil Dead 2. Years later, I hear about this cult classic, Army of Darkness. You got to see Army of Darkness. This guy, Bruce Campbell's so good in it. So I go, I better watch Army of Darkness. But apparently there's these 2 Evil Dead 2 movies I have to get through first.
You know what's really interesting to me, actually, is I was listening to a couple other people in the horror field talk about their first time with this franchise as well. And we're not unique in this. We're in our 30s, 40s, and there are people older than us that have a similar experience with the franchise. Even though they went to see it in the movies, they agree that it goes backwards for them as far as enjoying it and kind of, the natural progression of the franchise, even for that older generation.
That's so funny because I can fully agree. I didn't even know that Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 were part of this franchise until I was much older.
It makes me wonder why they didn't call it Evil Dead 3.
I know there's a story. I don't remember what it is.
I like the differentiation, though.
Yeah.
It really, it is a totally different entity.
Yeah. Well, so, the first weekend I'm renting Evil Dead 1 so I can make my way to Army of Darkness. That's the explicit route I'm taking. And I remember, again, this is when I'm just finally getting into horror, Halloween of 1998, because I was terrified of everything until then. So now I'm tiptoeing in and seeing what
You would have been like 14.
13. Well, when that episode comes, have me on and we'll get into the story about that. But I'm tiptoeing in because I've been terrified of everything up to this point. And so I go, okay, I watch Evil Dead by myself downstairs on the DVD player. It's the first time it's been released on DVD ever. It was a big deal. This shook me to my core. I've never seen anything like this. And if you want to really break it down, how much do you really see like this since? There's definitely been imitations, but they learned from somewhere, right? I'm like, okay, now it's time to watch the second one. And I was like, I love this too. And I finally get to Army of Darkness. I'm like, I kind of like the other two more.
Oh.
Yeah. Because everybody has their favorite between the three. And I think that speaks to your preferences as a viewer, right? But yeah, the first one is so unique to itself, and it's stuck with me ever since. But I got to get all the DVDs. I got to get the movie posters, like whatever they had. 14, 15-year-old me would be in heaven right now with all the stuff they have, the video games that have followed since, the TV show. But it all originates right here. And really, it originates with this proof of concept film they did before that called Within the Woods that I'm still searching for. I guess that's a big rights thing. All intents and purposes, it starts with this first movie, and it launches at least 3 careers between Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Robert Tappert.
Yeah. I kind of also feel like these films sort of did like a Tokyo Drift like type of thing, because there was like Fast and Furious, then Too Fast, Too Furious, and then there was like Tokyo Drift. And it's kind of like Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness.
That's true.
I always watched Army of Darkness. That's like what my dad loved. And I didn't even know there was Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 for a very long time. So I think I too watched this maybe in high school. Honestly, I could have even been in like my early 20s by the time I actually sat down and watched these two. I also thought this very first one terrifying, especially having that Army of Darkness reference and then going back and watching the first one. I was like, holy shit. But this film, there's so much like, I don't know, it has so much influence on a lot of films to this day. And I love that it is still such a fucking classic. I mean, even going into the ratings, which we're going to get to in just a second, it really like still stands the test of time.
It in a different way it does. It stands the test of time in such a different way. I can't describe it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Though? It's so, because like I said earlier, you have your Halloweens, you have your Friday the 13th, you have all of those things. But the Evil Dead, this is such a different feeling. And it's reflected in what we see throughout the culture of horror.
Yep.
At our conventions, at our events and everything, we see the presence there, but it's not on the same level. It's a really different experience.
It does feel different. And
I don't know why.
Yeah, I can't explain it. Maybe we'll figure it out towards the end.
And I can't tell if I love that feeling because I love this franchise so much or because it is different from the Jasons and whatnot. And
if it actually is different.
Like, is it? Or do I think it is?
Yeah.
I definitely think, because when I was finally like, okay, I'm a horror guy now, we borrowed our buddy Dave's Jason and Freddy collection. I'm like, I can finally watch these now. And as we're going through them, I'm all, these might not actually be for me.
Yeah. You're like, this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, this isn't what terrified 5-year-old me thought. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, it's just got such a specific voice and an aesthetic and a tonality to it, because they were comedy guys trying to break into the film business going, well, there's more money in horror, so let's give that a whirl. And so it's a comedy guy's take on horror. And I think that speaks a lot to what makes it so unique.
But I think that's why I love it so much is I listened to this thing with Bruce Campbell talking with Sam Raimi, and they're like, you guys, we were trying to be serious. This is not funny. This was us actually acting. This is serious. I was like,
love that.
Word. This is why I love it. You can't be without knowing it.
Yep.
And if you guys haven't seen The Evil Dead, this is your spoiler warning. Obviously, we're talking heavy shit on this episode. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it now, come back to us. And if you don't give a fuck, come on this yellow 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88 ride with us.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Classic.
That is such a good car, too. I mean, we're going to get into it right in the beginning of the film here, but lovely. Just love that.
I'm just like dusting off my shoulders.
I know. That was great.
Thank you.
This film follows 5 friends who travel to a cabin in the woods where they unknowingly release flesh-possessing demons.
That is some alliteration if I've ever heard it, because shit. Also, this synopsis is basically one of the songs in the Evil Dead play I've seen like 5 times.
Dude, I want to see the play so
it's
bad.
It's so good. But their intro song is literally, cabin in the woods. Oh yeah, we're 5 best friends in the cabin in the woods. Literally that.
Wait, okay. Well, can we watch it? Where can we watch it?
The October.
Oh, well, let's
We're
do
going.
it. Let's do
All
it.
4 of us.
This whole project started with 2 friends, and they had a dream of making films. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell.
I think this just really tickles my heart. I think it tickles all of our hearts because this is all of us.
I fully agree. I think that if there is nothing better than there is nothing better than probably making films with your friends, doing things that you love with your friends. Hence what we're literally doing all right here, right now. There's not a better feeling. And then to see how this film has taken off and like the just acclaim that it has to this day, so fucking cool. So cool.
So fucking cool.
And they were childhood best friends and they loved making like really funny short films as a kid with a Super 8 camera. Also fucking cool. But Sam really wanted to direct a horror film. That was like definitely something that he had his sights set on. And once they actually raised enough funds when they were a bit older, they set out to make what was then titled The Book of the Dead, Necronomicon. Hello. And at the age of 20, Sam Raimi got a bunch of his friends and his family to be a part of the crew, found some actors, and headed to a remote cabin in Tennessee.
What a fucking dream. I mean, not unlike us who are sitting in a garage
recording this podcast.
Recording a podcast, making art. I love everything about the making of this film. I think the making of it and the camaraderie and the buddy of it all, the campiness of it is almost more interesting than the actual movie.
I could see that.
Because I think I watched more behind the scenes and documentaries about this than the actual movie itself.
And that's arguably probably more intriguing.
Because it's like you said, two best friends just hanging out. It's making shit happen because they had no money.
Yeah.
So it's them figuring it out together. How can we get this shot with no money and a skateboard and a piece of gum?
Well, and you and I listened to a panel with a lot of the Evil Dead folks on it back in last May at Texas Frightmare, and Bruce Campbell was there, and they were talking about not having literally any money and just trying their best with what they had. And I think that this is that perfect example of something really magical happening when all of the different components come together and can just like really make something special. Going back to like the title of the film, so Sam Raimi, he actually changed the title from The Book of the Dead to The Evil Dead, deeming it the quote unquote least worst title. And Sam Raimi also would show the film to literally anyone who would watch it. And he finally landed a screening at the 1982 Cannes Film Festival. And with the help of some positive reviews from Stephen King, who was in attendance there, The Evil Dead was then picked up by New Line Cinema for a worldwide release. So tell me that doesn't also just feel like divine intervention almost.
No, it's literally the perfect storm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then from that point, it had its worldwide theatrical release on April 15th of 1983. So even though, it was done in 1981, it really took its time to like get off its feet and get going. And it grossed $2.4 million domestically and was a hit overseas. And regardless of the fact that Raimi made this film to be as gruesome as possible, he had no interest in or fear of any kind of censorship. It did garner exceptional reviews and was deemed as one of the most notorious splatter films of its day. So it's funny because he wasn't going for that literally at all. He was just doing his dream of like making this horror film with his friends, low budget, making it happen. And it became this sleeper hit with people. And to this day, still so good. And it's reflected in the ratings. I mean, IMDb is a 7.3 out of 10. How often do we do anything even over 7?
That's very high for IMDb.
Horror is hard to get a fucking good rating on. What do you got for Rotten Tomatoes?
Tomato meter is 85% and popcorn meter is 84%, which you don't often see them that close.
No, totally. There's usually like a disconnect somewhere.
And then Letterboxd is 3.6, which I'm still figuring out their ratings. So
there just might not be enough yet, but yeah. I feel like over time that'll grow. And the impact of this film too is also super interesting because the original Evil Dead trilogy of films has been recognized as one of the most successful cult film series in history. Also something that Sam Raimi did not fucking plan for. And I know it's hard to say you're planning to have like some cult fan favorite hit franchise success, but he really wasn't. And this spawned into 5 sequels, a TV show, a new iteration of Evil Dead Burn that is expected to release this July. I mean, there's like so much fucking going on. And this franchise to this day is still one of the best well-known franchises in horror history.
I think it's insane because I was reading an article that said that this almost was not a franchise. They made The Evil Dead and it came out and had all of this talk around it, whether good or bad. And obviously there's a lot of controversy with it because it is so gruesome and gory and bloody and all of that. And not only that, it's got graphic content regarding sexual assault. Yeah. So it's a controversial movie. But over in the UK, Sam Raimi got charged with obscenity because of the content of the film. So he was being charged over there. And he was like, oh, fuck, I might go to jail for making The Evil Dead. Like, that would suck. Although it would be worth it because it is a great film.
Yeah, now.
But he's like, okay, The Evil Dead 2. We'll make it funny. And look what was born.
So crazy. So funny.
It just, thinking about all of those other things that have spawned in this franchise because of this one film is just absolutely insane. Just thinking that it all goes back to this movie we're about to talk about.
It's so cool. And David, I'd be interested to hear too, like, what was your thoughts when you first saw this, like back in the day? Like, were people talking about this film as much as they are now?
Yeah, had your friends seen it?
Oh, yeah, a lot of them. A lot of them were like, oh, you finally watched this movie. Great, we can have conversations about this now. And then the friends that hadn't, I was showing them, well, you got to come to my house. We're going to watch this fucked up movie. It's going to be great. But yeah, it was like this cult that just seems to have grown over time and really just become part of the modern horror lexicon in a way that I could see if you were really young getting into horror, just thinking it was always like this. But it seems there was always something there, but it really seems to have grown in my time. So Lord knows since 81, 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah.
I think even from when you were born to us all learning about horror to now, like even at our age, there has been so much that has come in the world of horror.
Yeah.
As far as expansion with
And popularity.
Popularity, like the events, the conventions, the accessibility, the social media. It's crazy.
It's kind of like cyclical too. Like, I mean, I'll be real. We could talk about this in a whole different episode and do like a bonus episode on it. But horror right now is hot, right? In this day and age, it has been for probably the last like five-ish years. It's been really just every year getting hotter and hotter. I do not see a time where it will cool down. It may, just because trends and things are cyclical. It's just so cool when we see like films like this from the 80s that we have grown up with and people are just discovering them this year, or, you know, younger generations are starting to dive into these horror films, and it spawns that like ripple effect, right? And it's bringing that notoriety even more to this franchise.
I wonder what made it heat up again.
I don't know. I think people just getting really interested in like quote unquote like vintage horror or like old school. Obviously 80s horror is a huge genre just like within itself. Slasher horror,
Right.
Paranormal horror. I mean, there's all the different genres too that almost
Cabin
have their
horror?
cabin horror. They also have their own just like popularity bubbles within each, you know. It's like it's so fucking interesting.
I don't think I've ever heard the term body horror used more than the last like
Totally.
2 or 3 years.
Yes. That is so true. So true. Well, obviously, we have a lot to talk about. I am so excited to chat with both of you on this. Again, David, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Thank you.
so stoked to hear your thoughts. But before we dive into this, I want to call it like cabin swamp. 'Cause
Okay.
that's kind of how we start the film here. I want to cheers to having you, David, as our guest of honor today and to talking about The Evil Dead.
Cheers.
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 This film immediately opens with a title card for The Evil Dead. It just is like right in your face. And it's like a low angle point of view shot.
It does something to my soul. It's nostalgic. It's setting me up for the horror that I'm looking forward to already.
It's quick too. It's quick acting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of The Shining with it like going over the lake or whatever when they're driving.
Just right at the beginning. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
But this one, this low angle point of view, it's a little bit chaotic. The camera's kind of like crashing through some branches and like gliding over water. And it's sort of implying to us as the viewer that there's like an unseen force. This is actually a really cool scene too, because there was a camera trick used to emulate a Steadicam inexpensively. And it was called the shaky cam, which involved mounting a camera to a piece of wood and having 2 camera operators sprint around the swamp.
I love that. I also heard it be called a stalker cam by the crew. I love
Oh.
that stalker cam, like right in there
Just,
with
I'm
you.
stalking
I'm
you.
fucking stalking you.
Also, like, I don't know why when I thought of like 2 camera operators sprinting around the swamp, I just like thought of us.
Oh, I thought of like the 2 paranormal guys from the Dream guys from Insidious.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, could we be them?
That
too?
sounds like a movie.
Okay.
That mashup sounds like a movie.
It does. It does. Then we are immediately introduced to our crew, and they are driving in that lovely yellow Oldsmobile that
Thank
Allie
you.
mentioned earlier. And they're driving on these forest roads, trying to find their way to a cabin. And we are introduced to Ash, who's played by Bruce Campbell, Cheryl, played by Ellen Sandweiss, Shelley, played by Teresa Tilley, Scott, played by Richard DeManicore, and Linda, played by Betsy Baker.
We're getting the vibe of this whole film, right? We're with these young, hot kids. They're in their 20s. We don't really know the situation. They're taking a trip to some cabin overnight in the woods. And it got me thinking, is this the first time we're taking a trip to the woods to go to a cabin with teenagers?
It definitely is one of the first.
But what is this the first?
Great question. I'm not sure. David. I'm all, David, what do you think?
I'm saying, you know how we always go, I love when it has an ode to an older horror film.
Is this the ode?
If there is, I'm having a hard time, thinking of one. I know this was heavily inspired by The Hills Have Eyes, the original Hills Have Eyes, where it's a family taking a trip in a motorhome. So almost this could be seemed like a streamlined version of that. There must be some obscure movie with a similar idea. If there isn't an obvious one we're just not thinking of, right?
Yeah, but that us not being able to come up with it is telling us something, right? So that's fucking bitching.
Yeah.
So we're with these kids that are talking about this cabin. Scott brings up that he's never been there before. He's never seen it. He is renting it from some guy. Super sketch, right?
Just some guy.
The girls in the car are saying, that's kind of weird. That's strange, right? Ash is saying, no, that's kind of sweet, right? It's kind of nice, romantic. It'll be sweet. Cheryl's saying, I bet it's the pits. And we're getting a real good look into Cheryl right now.
Yeah.
And this is also stepping into something that I'm going to bring up a lot during this film is the tropes. We're going to be introducing, in my mind, a lot of these tropes that we talk about every day, right? And how many people are in this car?
5.
We got a fifth wheeler here.
She gonna die.
She gonna die. Girl,
she's on the chopping block.
And she's already got a negative attitude.
She does. Also, too, like in this situation, it's really funny because we also get immediately another kind of trope, which is their car gets stuck trying to cross this quote unquote dangerous bridge. So the danger is sort of hinting at them. The bridge, if you could compare, is their harbinger.
Yeah, definitely hinting at some kind of harbinger or something. I did remember that when we were first introduced to the kids, they were almost going to be hit by a truck, and Scott was driving, and he's like, oh, something almost took the wheel out of my hands. And that was almost another hint at an entity, too. So we're immediately being shown these instances of something paranormal.
Yeah, it was like, is Scott kidding, or is there something really sinister at play already?
Only thing that works on this car is the damn horn.
I think he literally says that.
He does. And then,
like,
he's honking the horn and he's waving at there, and then the two people hear him honking and wave at him, and he goes, go to hell, I wasn't honking at you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who they are?
No.
Sam Raimi and Robert Tappert.
Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah.
This is why we love you, David.
We needed that.
Many reasons, but this particularly today.
So the crew then finally arrives at the cabin, and Scott goes in first to check it out while the rest of the crew, they're outside the car. It looks like a fucking really rundown cabin. So I think they have a little bit of pause.
This is where we're introduced to the Sam Raimi style too. I'm going to say bitch and shot so many times it's going to get annoying. We have a bitch and shot of them just staring at this cabin, and it's kind of rushing up on them and going back at the same time, and you feel you're being run up on. And it's a camera effect, obviously, but it also can feel like the Deadeye at times. So it's overwhelming.
Do you know what my favorite part of this shot is?
What?
It's when the branch comes and just totally whacks the lens as they're coming in there.
Yes.
I did not even notice that.
And that's kind of first hint at like the branches and the forest and trees playing like such a huge part of this film.
Yeah.
I just love we don't have enough time or money to make another take. That's it. Just roll with it. Just ignore that.
And that's how they ran with it.
Yeah, this will fit into the movie. Don't worry.
And as Scott steps into the cabin by himself, we get this little slight sunbeam kind of spill into the room, and it lights up this deer head mounted on the wall. Fucking love that deer
And you
head.
see all the dust and stuff.
And the fog rolling.
Yes. I love all of the use of just like sort of natural elements that would happen if any of us were at like an old cabin. Hell, it did happen to us at a cabin we were at
Oh my God.
in Lake Arrowhead a couple summers ago. And these are just natural things, but they are so honed in on in this film because they're creating that creepy factor.
And again, you have to think when this movie was released, going to a cabin in the woods wasn't necessarily scary.
Yep. Totally. Scott then goes into another part of the property. He like goes into this barn, and it's kind of weird because we don't get a lot of info on what this necessarily is other than he sees lots of chains and like hung animal bones around. And there's like, I think a chainsaw and a couple of various tools, but it's very like, is this person a collector? Are they a crafty little cutie patootie?
Do we have a new layer unlocked?
There might be a new layer. We don't know.
They were ahead of the taxidermy trend before everybody else.
Yes.
Truly.
They could show up at that like oddities expo that like goes around touring around America.
Loki want to go to that.
Yeah, me too. I have a question for you guys though. This has one of the most iconic horror openings, especially with that like low angle point of view. And it just immediately, we feel that entity's presence. Like, does that still reign itself effective today when you watch it?
Well, shit, man. Now I can't stop thinking about The Shining. Seriously. You put that in real good perspective because that did come out before this. And now I can't stop thinking about it.
So do you think it's still effective to
I don't
this
know.
day?
You got me confused. I think it is because it's still nostalgic. I keep saying nostalgia, right? So it still works. But now I'm like, okay, well, The Shining is part of that too. And I already knew that.
So it almost like developed a deeper meaning for you.
It connects in a way.
Yeah.
I think it's a comfort thing now. As much as I was terrified of this movie when I first saw it, I've seen it, so many times. Even the little things just become familiar, and there's like this warm feeling, so to speak,
Yeah. Did you guys feel, especially knowing that this was so like low budget, do you feel like it was so fucking obvious in this first scene?
I think it made it better. I think it all lended to the whole scope of the film.
Yeah.
Apparently this was an honest to God abandoned cabin in Tennessee too.
Makes it even 10 times creepier.
Well, okay. The cabin on the outside looks like a cabin for ants, but the cabin on the inside looks like a full VRBO.
Well, when they were apparently getting in touch with the guy that actually owned the place, he said, do whatever you want with it as long as you tear down whatever you put in for the movie. Oh. And they didn't.
They didn't?
We'll come back to that later.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear more about that.
Yeah, apparently it was mostly just the fireplace, because the fireplace ends up playing a big deal, right?
Hell yeah. Get it? Hell. Fire.
Fire.
The group then settles into the cabin and they go to start like exploring the space. One thing that happens almost immediately is Cheryl, she separates herself from the group and she is sketching alone. Some creepy things start to happen here. So we have like a few different things that go on.
Just to be clear also, why Cheryl is a fifth wheeler is because Ash and Linda are a couple and Scott and Shelly are a couple. Shelly and Cheryl, why would they do that?
And Cheryl is Ash's sister? Question
Yes.
mark?
Also, why would you bring your sister?
I thought there was more backstory that ended up getting caught, like she had a breakup or something, and it was like them just trying to bring her along so she wasn't alone and dealing with stuff. I think I am out of practice, so I could totally be off too. I want to say they might elaborate on it in the show a little.
Yeah. Nonetheless, she's dealing with a couple of creepy things that are happening.
And for some reason, nobody else is having any of these revolutions happen to them either.
And I think it's just because she's by herself. I think this entity, this unseen force is sort of like kind of singling her out, right? It senses that she is that outlier, that hangnail, so to speak. A couple things happen. The clock stops. She hears some noises outside. Some kind of spirit actually ends up taking over her hand and sketching a book on a blank piece of paper in her sketchbook.
I think this scene of her being possessed is one of my favorite scenes. It's just so like random and she's kind of calm, like much more calm than I would be.
We also get right into the action. I mean, how many horror films do we see with spiritual entities, what have you, or possessions that it takes fucking 45 minutes into the film for us to see fucking anything? Right now, this bitch already had her hand possessed and she's drawing a book.
We're 10 minutes in.
Literally. And suddenly, the cellar door from the floor of the room that she's in starts like shaking, almost like someone is trying to open it from underneath. But then like nothing happens and we just cut to like the group having dinner.
It's that classic, that was weird. Okay.
Not going to worry about that. Okay. I'd be like, what the fuck, you guys? There's someone down there.
Again, annoying. Again.
Simpler time.
Yes. Ignoring these tropes that we're now building in this film.
Exactly. As the group is having dinner, Ash starts to give a toast, and right when they are about to drink, the cellar door then pops open from the other room that Cheryl was just in, but there's like no sign of anyone. It just pops open, boom, empty. And Scott is the first one to go down and explore. They all decide that they want to check it out, but they want to also be careful. And I think Scott is like, well, I'll go down first and like kind of see what's going on.
Now this has to be the first of those, right?
I think so.
I'll go down first. Wait, let me go. Let's all go into this basement.
Establishing Randy's rules.
Yes, he's the first Randy.
Yes. I was going to say, add this to like not running back upstairs when someone's chasing you.
Exactly.
Just add that to the list. So Scott goes down first to explore, and then Ash ends up following Scott when they try to call for Scott a couple times and he doesn't answer their calls from above. we get this shot where we didn't really get to see Scott in the cellar, but we do get to like follow Ash around in the cellar, and it's very dark. It's creepy, to no surprise. And Ash doesn't really find Scott right away, but then Scott all of a sudden sneaks up on him and scares him and shows him like a bunch of shit that he found down there.
I mean, I want to go in this basement.
This basement fucking terrified me as a kid.
Why?
It's a creepy, dark basement.
I get that. I mean,
That's all you need to know,
I know.
Allie.
No,
You don't know what's
dumb
in
question. True, but that's what's exciting, and that's what is cool about this basement is it is scary and kind of showing us the potential for terror.
This part too, where they find like a few random things that are obviously all related to the Kandarian people or
Demons.
ritual demons, whatever. Scott and Ash, they find some other weird items in the cellar amongst just like some random things. And a few of those weird things are A, a tape recorder, B, a dagger, but specifically a Kandarian dagger, which we're going to find out in just a second. And I love it because Scott says to Ash, this kind of looks like your old girlfriend, because the dagger has this carved demon skull head thing. It's actually really fucking sick. I kind of want one.
That'd be an amazing prop.
They made that by having a bunch of chicken and using the bones to make the dagger.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Etsy shop is what I'm hearing.
Truly.
Yeah, it truly was. Because it doesn't look anything like that in the second movie.
Yeah.
Actually, everything stylistically changes throughout each film.
It
That
does.
is true.
It does. It's not very consistent.
Yeah.
But the one thing we do have, which is, I would say, consistent, is the Necronomicon.
Hey, actually, I would argue it's not very consistent.
Yeah, you're right.
This one's like smaller. Too.
Yeah, she's little. And this is the Book of the Dead. We don't find that out, though, just yet. Scott then tells Ash that they should bring these items upstairs. So, of course, move them from their place where they are. That's what you should do.
Okay, to be fair, let's say we are not horror lovers and we have not had years of movies that prepare us for situations like this. We would absolutely go down to that basement, bring shit back up, play with it.
You're right. You're starting to sound like me. I feel
know.
like I do those logical call outs.
Just two other things to note that are in that basement. One, the shotgun that then comes into play. That's a real-ass shotgun they bought at Kmart. Shooting real-ass ammunition in this movie.
Oh my God.
Fuck yeah.
Would not do that nowadays.
It's giving rust?
I was actually, oh God, I was thinking about that earlier, David. That's a good point. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if stars get really scared when they handle even just fake firearms. Because I would.
They're not doing that anymore.
They couldn't afford anything. Do you think they have a prop master?
No,
Yeah.
they had to go to Kmart.
Other item of note in the background in that little workshop thing in the basement is a tore up Hills Have Eyes poster.
Oh shit, I didn't even notice that.
And that is it's a homage to the Hills Have Eyes being one of the main movies that was the influence on Evil Dead. I haven't seen Hills Have Eyes in over 20 years, but apparently somewhere there's a tore up Jaws poster in the background, and that's what that was a thing for. And without skipping ahead too many movies, Wes Craven took that as a diss. So in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, they're watching Evil Dead on TV being like, look, our movie's scarier. So then Evil Dead 2 escalates it, and in the basement is Freddy Krueger's glove hanging down.
Wait, this is actually so fucking awesome. I did not know that there were like 8 degrees of horror battle.
Yeah.
Horror
Yep.
beef.
So then they take it up one more step, and in, what is it? Jason Goes to Hell. In the basement is the Necronomicon and the Kandarian dagger, and it has since been established as canon that Jason's a Deadite.
Wow.
I want to say that's where it ends. I don't know for sure.
Literal mic drop.
Yeah.
We're just taken to church.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love the repeated, throwbacks and forths.
It's one of my favorite things. If I ever make a horror film, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've been more interested in it recently, actually making my own horror film.
I have spec scripts. We're ready.
Perfect. Let's do fucking so many odes. Like,
Amazing.
Let's just make a movie about odes.
I'm in.
The reference killer.
Wait, is that what it's called?
No, I'm just saying.
No, I kind of like that name. Producer, write this down.
Yeah.
My other pitch was Scream, but instead of somebody running around trying to stab somebody, it's like an evil Michael Bay, and he's just got explosives planted everywhere, and he's just constantly throwing up little trigger things that
Just like
set
sitting
off.
in his chair, just like boom.
No, he's like chasing you with a knife, but he like all of a sudden he'll grab like a little trigger and try to blow you up.
Tell me more.
And
Tell me
there
more.
would be lens flares.
Oh, all
and
the
Linkin
all
Park
the fun
songs.
Oh God, yes.
Yep. Patent pending.
Okay, quick question though before we move on. Do you guys feel like, especially in a movie like this, that curiosity is really like the real villain here? What are your thoughts?
But isn't that c'est la vie, such is life?
Yeah.
Curiosity killed the Ash, but it didn't.
Is it Professor Noby whose fault everything is then?
Potentially, because he brought it back, right?
Yeah.
We find out in just a little.
He goes, hey, there's these things that are supposed to bring about all these demons. I better read it out loud.
I'm going to take it to my cabin with my wife.
It's so The Mummy. Rachel Weisz.
Which
Yeah.
has a book of the dead, right?
Oh my gosh. Where's Brendan?
It's all connected.
Where's Brendan?
I know we kind of already touched on it, but I do feel like it might have given birth to the horror trope of touching cursed objects and then having fucking residual terrible
Do we
effects. Potentially.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's not the very first one, but like in mainstream horror, probably.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear anyone let us know if you guys can think of like as far back as you possibly have seen.
Can I battle?
Sure.
The Exorcist?
It's been a minute since I've seen Exorcist.
Yes.
Is that why
That is a good one.
Pazuzu chooses Reagan?
I don't know if it's because he chooses Reagan because he brought the totem back, but that definitely had a part into the spirit,
I have a better one.
the demon.
A better one. It came out after The Evil Dead, but it the Brady Bunch too. They touched the statue of the horse. I have the DVD if you want to borrow it.
Perfect. Yeah. So back upstairs, as Ash and Scott have like brought the items from the cellar up to everyone, Ash starts playing the tape recorder left by a previous professor. And this professor, he believes that he found some Kandarian ruins. And in the recording, he like explains the discovery of the Necronomicon, which was like a volume of ancient Sumerian burial practices and funerary incantations. And it's translated meaning the Book of the Dead, and it's made of flesh and blood.
Bound in human flesh and inked in blood.
Ooh, love it. Love it. And apparently we find out in this recording too that demons/creatures, they can be called to life from incantations within the book. And I think the professor also mentions at some point that he brought all these items to this cabin and that's why they're there. And his wife was there. So he was trying to make a romantic weekend out of it.
Yeah, to continue the research.
Multitasking.
So crazy. Cheryl then immediately turns the tape off because she's like clearly starting to freak out.
She's like viscerally freaking out.
And Scott turns it back on, and the professor starts reading these incantations aloud on the tape. And from outside, we get a point of view, like a first-person point of view of what we're going to deduce is like the entity or the spirit. And they're kind of like watching them, but then all of a sudden we see a shot of the ground, and the ground starts like shaking, and it kind of starts lifting, and we see some like orangey red light and mist. It's actually pretty fucking cool.
It was very cool.
Terrified me.
And nothing comes out of it. It's just sort of like, hey, we're here.
We're
underground.
I'm fascinated by hearing you say this is terrifying. I've never heard you say this movie scared you.
This might be the last time I was legitimately scared.
Wow.
Yeah. I think this one broke me. I know I'm not really scared by anything.
I wonder what mine was because I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I'm scared of stuff, believe me. Just not movies.
We're like real life,
Yeah.
the government,
Truly.
medical insurance. So Cheryl, she like screams to shut it off. And suddenly, as that happens, the wind picks up and a small tree branch or tree just like breaks through the window. Ash kind of starts giving Scott a really hard time about freaking Cheryl out, but he brushes it off. He's like, it's like not a big deal, whatever.
I would be so mad if somebody was that's so rude.
It's okay if you want to be funny and you kind of scare everybody, but if someone's like truly, truly scared, it's like we got to tone it down a notch, you know?
It's intentionally poking the bear.
He's just a dick.
Yeah.
I think we can deduce that Scott's a dick. Later, Ash then asks Linda if they can stay up a little while and listen to the storm. And Linda agrees, but she wants to check on Cheryl first. And one thing I have to note here is like this little scene is so weird.
I completely agree.
With them on the couch,
Yes.
just like, okay, sounds good. I need to check on Cheryl first. And then it's just like, I don't know. It's just so random.
I think it was to really hone in on the fact that she's a cock block. That's why.
It's like, I'm going to check on your sister.
Yeah.
And Ash is like, oh, fuck.
She's the one that's preventing you from getting. Yeah.
When she comes back from checking on Cheryl, Ash gives her a little box with a necklace in it. It's like this really cute little like magnifying glass. I don't know. I've never seen like a necklace necessarily like this, but the producer made a good point that it could even be something that people had back in the day just to even like read things.
I was going to ask you, is this cute?
It's funny because it could mean something to them, but they do not disclose what that thing is.
She could hate it.
I feel like the medallion necklace thing, just like we said, the Necronomicon is smaller in this one than all the future iterations. Is the necklace smaller in the second movie?
I don't remember the necklace specifically in the second. I just remember in the first movie because what a weird gift in my brain.
Although it comes into play later.
Obviously, but here's a necklace of a magnifying.
Very
but you're right,
random.
it could mean something.
Yeah. So they kiss, and as they're kissing, someone's watching them from the outside. He or she or it or demon or Black Phillip, they're watching from outside the window, and they are just like seeing everyone. And then it finally gets to Cheryl's window, and we hear like a little voice that says, "Join us. Join us." David, your turn.
Join us.
Okay, well, his was good.
I have literal chills right now.
I'm pretty sure that's Sam Raimi.
You think?
I'm pretty sure I read something that's like Sam Raimi.
I'm going to say based on budget, likely.
Love that.
I was even going to say, because I know a lot of the stuff where you just see hands ends up being Sam Raimi. I almost want to say the Cheryl hand drawing on the sketch pad might have been him as well. Maybe.
That was kind of I want that drawing. We didn't talk about it. I want that drawing she's sketching of the Necronomicon. It's so bitchin'.
I feel like I've seen it in real life.
Oh, really? I bet it's a thing.
We got to look for that. These are things now that we can look at when we're at horror cons and we go shopping.
Absolutely.
Ali and I always go on our fun shopping sprees. So
We'll have to take you next time. But something about this entire scene that just really throws me off is the playing of the tape, even though it's obviously bothering the girls.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck? Let's put ourselves in a scenario. It's today, it's like 2026, and somebody gives us an iPhone that has a Spotify app and say, push a playlist. I don't know. That's the equivalent today. And so it's so innocent, right? Why would you not push play on this tape recorder thing? It's innocent. How would you not?
If I had like any inclination that weird things were happening, I don't think I would let anyone play it, but I would definitely be intrigued. I don't know if I could stop myself from playing it.
I agree with that. As a girl who thinks everything is a sign, I don't know what I would do.
Same. I think you and I would both be like, should we play it? And we're like, we know we shouldn't, but should we play it?
And then we'd see a sunflower and be like, that's a sign, but for what?
And it also kind of reminds me of like in Stay Alive, you say Elizabeth Bathory's her summoning prayer or whatever, her
come to me
spell.
clouds.
Don't say it.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
You freaking kidding me right now? Well, that's the thing is like I religiously never read it out loud because like I don't know. I'm superstitious. Maybe that's just me.
I'm actually kind of with you.
I'm just a little stitious.
You're not super. You're just a little.
Just a little stitious.
Regular stitches.
Regular stitious.
Yeah.
I'm like that, but not with reading out loud. The pushing play, I probably could get on board with being superstitious about that, but the reading it, I don't know.
You wouldn't care?
I think I'm too arrogant to know not to read it.
Got it. You just start reading it and you're all, White Claw is going to take over my
yeah.
life. Oh, okay, cool.
Ron Burgundy?
Yeah, like
I'm Ron
literally.
Burgundy.
Calories, total fat, sodium, 60. Oh God, 65.
Isn't it a reel-to-reel as well that they're playing this off of?
Isn't it?
I think. Because I almost want to say in the second one, it's just like one of those little rectangular tape things.
That's what I thought. Was it a reel-to-reel in the first one?
I'm pretty sure it might be a reel-to-reel in all of them.
You could be right.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I love Airheads.
Yeah.
David, would you play the tape?
Fuck no.
We're learning that David's a scaredy man.
No, I'm not superstitious, but like also why tempt fate? Why even take a chance? You know what I mean?
What if you don't know you're tempting fate? That's the thing.
Yeah. As soon as they start getting up to, and by the way, I'm going to start reading this incantation that's in this book. I was just like, how about we just not?
That's a great point, actually, because you do get context from the professor before incantations even start. Like, oh, I found all these things about demons. I'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah. I'm going to haphazardly just read them, by the way.
I weirdly like love movies about demons, but they're the thing I'm most scared of, truly, in real life. In paranormal horror and like demon horror is truly like the shit that keeps me up at night.
Not me, but I understand the fear.
Yeah. And I love that, like, it's just, what kind of demons? Oh, demons.
Just demons.
It's just whatever gets the job done. You never see what Deadites look like in their purest form. There's the very first, I know there was like an old Evil Dead game from the 80s, but they did like a Resident Evil ripoff thing in the early 2000s, so you get to see what the Deadites kind of look like, and it's like, okay, I kind of like what I had in my imagination better.
A little better, yeah.
That's so funny. I like the omnipresent being of a Deadite. It's just the ever looming first person perspective in a horror film is a Deadite.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, moving on. So Cheryl, she ends up leaving the cabin alone to investigate this voice that she heard saying, join us, right outside of her window. And also, that's fucking stupid, Cheryl, you dumb bitch. Anyways, sorry.
Especially when you know you're a fifth wheel.
Why are you going outside? I'd literally, as annoying as this might be and as cockblockery as this might be, I would be like, Ash, I heard something literally talk outside. Can you come with me? Or you go check it out.
You guys, I just had a full ass realization that I'm Cheryl. I am Cheryl. I am the sister.
No, you're definitely Cheryl.
I'm the one that's like, you're going to leave me at fucking home? Take me with you.
Oh my God, you absolutely are.
No,
David's literally shaking his head and agreeing.
You guys, and then you get there. You get there to have your fun in this cabin. And then I'm like, cool, I'm going to go on a walk outside.
And now they're worried about you.
And now they're worried about, I am Cheryl.
You're that dumb bitch.
It's my fault.
I'm just kidding. I love you.
It is my fault.
But Cheryl goes outside. She senses something watching her, obviously. And okay, wait, guys, can I say this is so funny? And this, I don't know if this is going to relate to literally anyone. It does?
Yes.
Okay. Allie can see my notes, so she knows what I'm going to say. This music in this scene, I don't want to speak incorrectly here, but it's almost tribal. And it reminds me of the scene when they have the tribal song playing and they're doing like the little dance in Scooby-Doo when they're on Spooky Island.
It didn't click that for me, but now that you say it, absolutely. And I fucking love Scooby-Doo, Zombie Island, Monster Island, Zombie Island.
It's Spooky Island.
Spooky Island.
Yeah.
Oh, Spooky Chicks.
Well, it's technically Scooby-Doo the movie, but they're like Spooky Island is where they go.
Oh,
did you know
live action ones? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I got the lyrics.
There are lyrics?
Ringido awagu se binga tamanati fet. Oh my God. Wait, see, this is me. I'm fucking speaking something out loud. That was so stupid. Why did I do that?
You did it.
Well,
Cats
anyways.
are going to be possessed now, Al.
Oh, no.
Apparently it's called the Creatures Chant. You guys can go look that up later.
Please do.
Moving on.
Suddenly the force becomes hostile.
It does. Yeah. The forest does become hostile. And branches start moving super unnaturally towards Cheryl's direction.
It is true.
And okay, this scene, it is very
this is a very
triggering.
Yes. And there's a lot that goes into the scene. So there are some different versions of this movie ratings wise. So I'm not sure what you are watching if you have watched this. There is an X-rated version. There's an unrated version.
I want to say it's all the same. They just had different things over the years because X was the thing when I was a kid and then it changed to NC-17.
Yep.
Apparently the official rating as of 2000 something is NC-17.
Anyways, this is a very potentially triggering scene between a woman and a tree.
Yes, some vines like attack and restrain her and they start like cutting and kind of like ripping her clothes off. So it turns like very sexual very fast. Then some branches like literally open her legs and one kind of goes straight into her vag.
Literally implying straight into her vag.
Yeah. And I think she had underwear on, so like it cut through that shit.
But can you imagine being an actress and seeing and like knowing you have to do this? And I listened to an interview with the actress who played Cheryl about the scene. She was obviously fucking nervous that she had to do this.
Totally.
And the crew was all really cool, trying to make her super comfortable. And something about this scene, not everything has her in it. You can get really creative cutting wise. So they did this scene in a way that Cheryl, the actress, I forget who plays her name. I'm really sorry.
Ellen Sandweiss.
She had this vision in her head of what she shot, right? And what she was told was going to be put together. And when she showed up to the premiere with her parents, it was a different version of this scene, much more graphic in nature. And she's seeing this for the first time with her parents.
Woof.
Beef was made. However, yeah, so in this scene, Cheryl basically gets sexually assaulted by a tree branch.
Yep.
And this, obviously, as a woman, sticks out in my brain heavily. As a person in general.
For sure. And luckily, though, she does escape and she is able to run back to the cabin in terror. This like invisible force is still chasing her. So somehow she like got away from all of these branches and kind of like shook them off her. But, you know,
there's something about this scene when she's about to come back into the house and she kind of does that shake and she goes back and I'm like, what?
The one thing that especially got me is when she looks back is going, is it still happening? And then all of a sudden one of the trees falls down. Because I should mention, when we saw this in our younger years, we were surrounded by trees outside.
Like our house was this cabin in the woods.
That's terrifying.
We literally had trees above our house and like surrounding around.
Hell no.
Hell yeah.
I was afraid of that little stretch. You know what I'm talking about, Al, where it's the the trees along the white fence. I was like legitimately afraid of that patch of trees outside the window.
We had different sections in our yard. We had about 2 acres of yard. We had different sections of the yard that were overgrown to a way that we named them. And I think one was called Spawn's Lair, and that was yours.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like Spawn the movie.
Spawn the movie.
Fuck yeah.
We hid homemade weapons in there.
Yep.
It was sick.
It was a natural like rock and tree cave. It was very cool. Anyways, we're getting way off topic. Back to the forest we're focusing on today.
Can I say one thing really quick, though, based on trees? David, were you equally as scared of trees when you first saw the poltergeist?
See, that's the thing. I didn't see Poltergeist till I was already an adult.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess question still stands.
Well, like even then, like there's just something inherently freaky about forests, especially when they get really dense, right? And then I guess one other thing of note is apparently all this sexual stuff was Rob Tappert's idea. And apparently Lucy Lawless went and saw this in her native New Zealand when this premiered and was terrified by the whole thing, but especially taken aback by the tree scene and went, what disgusting person would put this in a movie? She ended up married to Rob Tappert years later.
Shut the fuck up.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God.
And she's in the show.
The Evil Dead show?
Yep.
Oh,
She's come around, people. She has come around.
damn.
Weird full circle stuff.
Before we move on, I know you guys are going to agree with me, but like the forest in itself is a character in this film, right?
And I want to know where the line is drawn before Tree Forest Demon and Deadite. Where do they connect?
We don't know.
Like,
I think to David's point, we don't see what a deadite is ever in its like purest form. So can it take over even, obviously trees are alive. I get it. Trees are alive. But like it can even take over something like a tree that doesn't inherently take on like humanistic characteristics, but like a deadite can maybe just possess anything, a car even.
I want to say the car gets possessed in the show. That might have been around the time I had to stop watching, but I'm
there you
pretty
go.
sure it possesses the car.
Very Christine. Or it could be like the thing where it could possess people. Animals, yeah. But we don't have this knowledge of an ever-knowing Deadite world.
Correct.
Universe.
Correct. Yeah, not yet.
That's the thing is they don't expand on it in such a perfect way that it could really, it's not bound to any limitations that so many things have rules.
Do we
or
like
whatever.
that?
I mean, it lends itself to something, especially in a movie like this where it is more about the hero than the villains. It's just kind of like, here's the evil, go fight it.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know if that works now, but it kind of did at the time, it seems like.
Yeah. Cheryl is obviously hysterical. She gets back in the house. She's like warning the crew that something is out there. And she literally says, it was the woods themselves. They are alive. And the group initially is like doubting her story and kind of thinking she's overreacting. And she begs Ash to take her out of the cabin. She's like, please take me out immediately and drive me back to town.
And she obviously looks like she's been fucked with.
Oh,
she
yeah.
doesn't like look okay.
That's another thing too. When I saw this most recently, I'm like, dude, okay, even if you don't believe like her story that it was the trees, something fucked up still happened to her.
And go with her. Everyone, pick up your shit and go with her.
You guys have had several signs now, including a professor telling you that there are Kandarian freaking ruins in this house and he's speaking incantations, that maybe you guys should just like go.
Maybe.
I don't know. So Ash does agree inevitably to take her. And he's like, okay, like I'm just going to take her, whatever. And as they try to leave, the car doesn't start at first. But then after a little bit, they are like finally able to leave. And while they're on their drive, Ash at one point pulls over. And we don't know like why he's pulled over. And he has this kind of blank like look on his face at first. So you're like, oh shit, is this guy possessed now? But they both basically find that, and Cheryl is told to wait in the car while he walks off alone into the night. Cheryl then follows him and they find that the bridge that they crossed earlier is completely destroyed to shreds almost. She runs off and is running back to the car. And as she's running, Ash grabs her and she's like totally hysteric, saying like, it's not going to let us go. Like she's freaked the fuck out here.
I want to know if I'd be this visibly and actually hysterical. Because when you're scared and you're like, okay, I'm scared, but I'm going to play it cool.
Especially because she's with her brother. She's in a comfortable setting, probably being able to be vulnerable with him. And when you truly feel like your life is in danger, I think all of us here can say we're probably lucky enough to not have experienced that. We're like that fucking terrified. And if we have, that's horrible. And you could probably sympathize with Cheryl, right?
Well,
of like, she's just so fucking scared. It doesn't matter. She's going to try to yell and scream and be hysterical if that gets the point across better.
And I think the more frightening thing on top of what she's actually experienced, as crazy as it sounds, the frightening thing on top of that is her friends don't fucking believe her.
Yep. And on that note, they go back with the crew because obviously they can't go and cross this like bridge. And so Ash then starts listening to the tape a little bit more, kind of by himself with some headphones. And he finds that the professor says that his wife was actually taken over by one of the demons. So like, uh-oh.
When he's listening to the tape, because they're playing with the cards, and she's like, "Oh, I got some sort of extra sensory," and Ash just goes, "Yeah, that's great." Or something like that.
I want to know, piggybacking off of that, I want to know, is Ash a dick?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so you're supposed to be following Scott. You're supposed to think he's going to be the cool guy, and Ash is the unsuspecting dweeb.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, he becomes more and more Ash. And by the time you get to the TV show, he's just an irredeemable piece of shit. But you can't help but love him at the same time.
You've grown up with him.
Yeah.
It's like Bruce Campbell himself, no?
Kind of. Well, and then Al saw me laughing at something else. It's just thinking, yeah, he's supposed to be this like freshly out of high school dweeb in this movie. And if you're going by the idea that all three movies are actually within the span of like, I don't know, 48 hours or something, just the idea that he becomes like a 30-year-old something by the time Army of Darkness happens. And it's just like, yeah, man, he's been through a lot of stress. That's why he's got the little white patch in his hair.
Yep.
And that's why he looks 10 to 15 years older.
But beyond that, spreading it throughout the franchise, they spread it throughout this film because it took so long to finish and people have other shit going on. So they had to like wrap up loose ends with actors by just filling it in with Ted Raimi.
Yeah.
Here, stick your brother in.
Still in high school, Ted Raimi.
Here he is.
Crazy.
Cheryl suddenly becomes like aggressive and unstable as they are all just kind of hanging out. Some of them are playing cards. Scott was like chopping some firewood, and she starts like levitating and begins speaking in a demonic voice. David, I would actually love if you don't mind rehashing this one and saying, "One by one, we will take you," in your best demon Deadite impression.
One by one, we will take you.
Wow. That was uncanny.
Wow.
Which I'm pretty sure was also overdubbed by Sam Raimi.
Oh, I love that. I was wondering that actually.
Uncanny
say.
Kandarian.
Well, so it's like, it's funny because like on some of the DVDs, they have the deleted footage or whatever, and you just hear them talking in their normal voices or whatever, and then being all, okay, did that take work? Can we move on? Or, yeah.
Like, we have no idea what this is going to sound like when it's done.
This scene right here where she turns around and you see her all demonized for the first time might be legitimately the most scared I've ever been in a movie.
I can agree with that. That scene is pretty scary. Although the makeup is so unique, it's cheap enough to be scary at the same time.
Well, yeah, and especially like on the film grain and whatnot. And, you know, I'm watching this on DVD for the first time. High definition hasn't done it any favors. But like that moment, 15-year-old me or whatever, just me and my dog sitting there completely in the dark, fucking mortified.
The way she completely whips around. Yeah.
And then the whole thing of like she's predicting all the cards, and I used to try to remember what card it is she turns around on so I could like turn away in time.
She's
'cause
going
it freaked
like,
me out.
Heart.
Spades. Yeah. Oh,
With her scary that's her voice. Terrifying.
so scary. And suddenly she like collapses though, and the group like tries to see if she's okay. But as Ash gets closer, she comes to and she like turns around and kind of like stabs Linda in the ankle and then throws her and Ash like across the room. She's basically like attacking kind of anyone that's going to like get in her way. And she makes a fucking beeline for Ash. But then Scott is luckily able to like trip her and tosses her into the cellar and then like locks her in there.
Those classic chains.
Okay. And you guys kind of touched on this already, but like, I don't know if it's just me, but I kind of feel like Cheryl is the scariest Deadite in this film.
100%.
I think there's a case to be made for Shelley at times as well.
I could see that with Shelley. I could see that. I think Cheryl's freaks me out because she's almost like witch-like in a lot of ways, even just with her hair, the way her mannerisms are and stuff. And there's just something about her peeking from under the cellar that is, it also just lends itself to like how fucking scary she is.
That's so funny. I'm trying to bring up all the images to see which Deadite is the scariest. You can, Google's like, you can't see this. You're not allowed.
Well, so the idea is the longer you're possessed, the gnarlier and more demonic you become. And part of that, you know, they layer on the makeup as time goes on. So by the time you get to the end, yeah, Cheryl's like easily the most terrifying because like you don't have that much time with Shelley because she's dispatched pretty early. The other reason for that caking of the makeup on is so that they could make it really obvious that it wasn't the actor anymore. So if it needed to be a dummy or 15-year-old Ted Raimi, they could be like, look, she's been possessed that long. It's, it's just makeup. Don't worry about it.
I've changed my mind. Linda.
You think so?
Linda, scariest, yes.
It's a different kind of scary, though. Do you know what I mean?
She's
She's like a doll.
She's like, that's terrifying. A doll?
I could see that.
Yeah. She's like a little baby just sitting on the floor rocking back.
Yeah, it's but it's a different kind of scary than the other two. And so when I found out, like they had really early contacts for the Deadites in some cases. So it's also very clear early on with the Cheryl thing that she can't see if you're looking right, and she's like kind of swatting at whoever's close by. And apparently they could only put them in for like 15 minutes at a time. Other things they tried was just drawing on their eyelids with highlighter. So ever since I found that out, I go back and I try to see which shots have the highlighter eyelids.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to look for that next time.
And I'm pretty sure Linda's got some of those.
Oh,
you know what's kind of
absolutely.
funny, Els, is you saying that you're more freaked out of Linda and I'm kind of more freaked out of Cheryl. It's funny because I don't know why that just made my brain jump to like The Conjuring and like Annabelle and Bathsheba, because let me show you this picture. This is Bathsheba, the demon from The Conjuring.
Oh, okay.
And she's a witch.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of what I see when I see Cheryl.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because you're like,
Interesting.
you were saying, oh, Linda scares you so much because she's so doll-like.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
No, that's interesting.
made a connection to like The Conjuring.
No, that makes sense because visually that's what scares us.
I need to turn this off. It's scaring me.
And if you haven't deduced by now, eventually all the women become Deadites.
They do. And speaking of Shelley, in the main room of the cabin, we have Scott, Shelley, and Ash, and they're all talking about like what to do next while Cheryl is still like locked in the cellar. And then we see her point of view from down below, and I kind of love it because it's like her view from the crack of the cellar.
All you can see is her eyes.
It really is fucking really scary.
Yeah. That's still freaky.
Yeah.
Really.
I think as I've gotten older, I think it's a funny, cool thing, the basement being such a key element here. Maybe because we're not used to basements and it makes it scarier, but just having this demon kind of popping out whenever it wants to.
Yeah. Californians, we don't get a lot of basements or attics, honestly.
So those are both inherently more scary to us.
Correct. The crew, they all want to get out of there, but obviously it's a matter of just like how and when, because they have this broken bridge situation. Can they wait a couple more hours at least until it's light out and they can start like hiking or something? But everyone wants to get out of there, obviously, as soon as possible. And
let's remember that this all is supposed to be happening one day night situation. They're only supposed to be staying over at the cabin for one evening.
yeah, it's hit the ground running. So Shelley laments to Scott that she thinks something is out there, and he encourages her to just like go to sleep. So as she's in her bedroom, an invisible force suddenly breaks through the window and Scott hears it. So he goes to like investigate, and there's no sign of Shelley in the room until Scott finds her in the like connecting bathroom. She is now possessed. She is a Deadeye, and she attacks Scott pretty violently. Scott is able to accidentally push her into the coals of the fire and then drags her body out a little bit, but then she immediately tries to attack him again and put him into the fire. So just like a lot happening in this chaotic moment.
It immediately escalates so quickly.
Yeah.
And now we've given up friendliness. It's, oh shit, you're trying to attack me.
Yeah. And Scott in this moment is able to chop part of her hand off with his own like knife dagger thing, as Ash is standing nearby ready with an axe, but he's just kind of like standing there.
This is the funniest scene to me, you guys. It's a bunch of 20-year-olds standing around. They've just gone through something super fucking weird. And he's like, you guys, it's Shelley. She's our friend.
Now they're having doubts.
And then she's like, oh, you think you're going to cut me with your fucking puny knife? Watch this. And she chomps through her hand. Dude. Oh.
Yeah.
That was gnarly. And it's all while holding the fucking Kandarian dagger too. It's like so cool. Scott then takes like the dagger and stabs her in the back, and this causes her to collapse. And there's lots of liquid happening here.
Lots of colors.
She's like spitting out a lot of white liquid at first, and then like foam starts happening, and then there's like
Yellows.
blue potentially. There's a lot like happening. And Shelley manages to get back up, and Scott is able to hack her with an axe, and he starts just like straight up dismembering her. And I love this shot because the blood starts like covering the camera lens and then goes dark, and it's so cool and creative and like low budge.
I think it came to be a very Sam Raimi thing as well.
Yeah. Ash and Scott are obviously super shaken, and Scott suggests that they should just like bury Shelley because obviously she's their friend. She deserves a little dignity and respect here. But just like they immediately are like, let's take her outside and bury her. It's like, okay, wait, are we going to just like digest what just happened?
I think that we say this every time that something like this happens in a film is like, we don't have time to process. We got to keep moving.
Yeah. Something else I want to bring up too, and it bleeds into a question I have for you guys, but did you notice too, like during this whole like fight scene with Shelley too, there's a part where she pushes Ash away and this bookshelf falls on him so comedically. Like it's so funny because Sam Raimi, he was said to be like a really big Three Stooges fan since childhood. And like I'm seeing some of that slapstick physical comedy like trickle into this movie.
Absolutely.
It's more intentional in 2 and Army of Darkness, obviously, but it's definitely evident in this first one. And it's not my type of comedy typically, because it is this movie. It just works for me. I
think
typically
it's
hate
the combination of the two, right? Like, because we got that horror stuff to hold on to, and it's like, oh, this is good too. It's a weird mashup. They call it splat stick.
I love that.
Splat stick. Fuck
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I love that.
I'm writing that down.
I don't remember which of them came up with that term, but it was one of them.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Do you feel like Scott was justified in how quickly he like resorted to violence and like chopping Shelley up?
Dude, you got to do what you got to do.
In this case, because she was like clawing at his face before they even made it out of the main room, right? And if I haven't said this already, the layout of the cabin freaks me out too. Especially like that dirty ass bathroom with the weird yellow shower curtain or whatever that is.
Something really interesting about David is he's very particular about spatial awareness and rooms and maps and stuff. So it's funny that I can see your brain going through the rooms and how it works into the film. Because I would never notice that.
Well, because the second movie, that they had to recreate the interior of that cabin, so it's intentional. But like just knowing that this was an actual abandoned ass cabin that actually looked like that to some degree is gnarly.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's lucky for them.
The guys then take her body outside and they do end up burying her near the cabin. Scott then tells Ash that they need to get out of there, but Ash says he can't take Linda in her like current condition because she can't walk very far. They obviously don't have a way to use their car to get like over the bridge or anything. And I'm pretty sure he's like asking Scott too, like, do you know of any other fucking way to get out of here? And I think he asks him that a little bit later too. And Scott freaking has the balls to suggest leaving Linda so that they can find help.
Okay, but is he wrong?
Okay, yeah, but not both of them leave Linda. If it's Scott, maybe like, Scott, I'm going to go get help. You stay with your girlfriend.
I mean,
they shouldn't leave her. That's his girlfriend.
If she's going to live, she's going to live by herself too.
Cold-hearted bitch. Scott then leaves the cabin and he's like, I'm going to go find some help despite like the danger and all the risk involved. Now we have just Ash and Linda left sort of in this cabin, relatively unscathed. Ash goes to check on Linda, and suddenly, now she is possessed too. And in the same moment, Scott returns to the cabin, and he's like severely wounded. Basically, like this dude's dying. And he tells Ash that they're all going to die there, and that Shelley was right. And Ash, he asks him again, like, is there any way around this bridge? And he tells Ash about a trail, but he says, quote unquote, the trees know they're alive.
So he went through some shit when he was outside.
Yeah, we have no idea like what it was that he just went through. It's so funny too, because as we meet Linda, we kind of just mentioned it, but Linda is like almost doll-like in her possession. And she's got like doll kind of
curls
and played up makeup. And even just her like voice is like,
and she's like sitting on the ground and cross-legged, rocking back and forth.
Oh my God, we're like really good at that.
Listeners, I wish you could see us right now. Emma and I are staring at each other.
We're in a doll trance.
We're rocking back and forth.
We're rocking back and forth. Oh my gosh.
David, what does this look like right now?
Are you scared, David?
Getting scared as time goes on, for sure.
Anyways, so see, but now you get why I think Linda's the scariest female Deadite.
I understand. And Ash cannot fucking stand her laughing and taunting from Linda. And he smacks her a couple times. And Scott like weakly tells him, bro, you got to kill her.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
And Ash is for sure struggling emotionally. I mean, even with like Cheryl and with Shelley and like everything, it's just like they were all friends at one point. So even
at one point, you mean like an hour ago?
Yes, an hour ago, literally an hour ago. And so there's that emotional tie, right? It's like you have that little thought right before you're going to take the axe to her. And he doesn't want to harm her. And Linda taunts him like a little bit more, but then she suddenly switches back to her like normal, innocent self. And she's like not demonic anymore. Then all of a sudden, Ash hears what sounds like Cheryl's normal voice coming from the cellar. And he's getting ready to unlock it because he doesn't see Cheryl, but just hears like her normal voice. And obviously Linda is now quote unquote back to normal too. So I think in this moment, he's thinking he's momentarily safe. And he goes to unlock it or try to. And then he sees that she was just tricking him when she bursts her hand through the cellar and grabs his neck. Was that a Sam Raimi hand? Do we know?
Oh, I don't know. I could totally see that though.
I was listening to a podcast of them covering Evil Dead, and it was a guy that did all of the handwork. I'm not even fucking with you.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You
And
can
I
tell
love that
in a good way.
From then on, you can see the holes in the cellar are like perfectly cut holes.
Yeah. So perfect. Linda then suddenly starts singing to Ash, and she's like, "We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. Not another peep. Time to go to sleep." And it's just like so funny and adding to this doll lore.
I kind of like her now.
She has a little lullaby too.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Why don't we dress as her? You dress as her and I'll go as Cheryl.
No. Producer goes as Cheryl.
What do I go as?
Linda.
Ash?
No, I'll go as Linda. No, wait.
Wait, we have to be all the girls, right?
I was gonna say what you could do is all be
Which one?
Shelly, but you could be like different parts of her underneath the fake
God.
floor. Or whatever.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That wins right there.
Perfect. As Linda's like being creepy with her little lullaby or whatever, Ash then drags her outside and leaves her. And I think he's like, again, he like wants to do something about her, but he's also kind of like, I don't know what to fucking do about you. So I'm just going to drag your ass outside for
Again,
now.
you can tell he's hesitant, also annoyed, but also wants to save himself.
Yep. Scott also eventually, poor guy, just like passes from his injuries. Again, we don't really know what happened to him out in the woods, but he did.
He simply passes.
He simply passes.
He found his bleed out spot.
Oh God. The bleed out spot.
Do you have one?
What's your bleed out spot? Like,
So think about it like this. You're at the end of an epic movie. You're about to die. You're about to bleed out. But you're having, it's this great score in the background. What are you looking at?
Taco Bell.
Hey, amazing. That's what I want to hear.
He did not skip a beat.
Not skipping a beat.
It's the end of Blade Runner 2049. I'm Ryan Gosling clearly, and instead of looking at whatever, I'm looking at Taco Bell.
Fuck yeah.
Love that.
That's how you know we're related.
That was a great answer. Linda then comes back inside. So she was outside, remember, and Ash dragged her out there, and she stabs Ash in the arm with the Kandarian dagger. He fights back and he ends up like getting a hold of the dagger and stabbing her with it. And this causes her to have a similar reaction to Shelley earlier, where she kind of starts like spewing liquids and kind of just things are happening.
Like spewing colors and textures. I want to know why they decided like white would be good.
So from what I read, it was the idea that instead of just bleeding red, the idea is that there were different colors to be like, look, they have more to them because they're demonic. The other reason is because they were trying to skirt the anything above an R rating, and clearly it didn't work.
that makes
Blue
sense.
blood works?
I guess.
That's why it's green in 2.
Wow.
I do like the fact, though, that it is something different than just blood, because it does, even subconsciously, make you think, oh, this person's not human, you know?
And somebody who's grossed out by that shit, it's a visceral reaction of ew.
Yeah, just all over.
Just all over ew.
Ash then drags Linda into the barn, and he's like gonna do what they did to Shelley. And as Cheryl's watching from the crack of the cellar door, he takes a chainsaw, and right before chopping Miss Linda into pieces, he stops himself when he sees the necklace that he gave her around her neck. And he decides like he's gonna simply just take her outside to bury her, give her a more respectful end. And as he starts to dig outside, Linda's eyes open. But every time Ash kind of looks at her, because he's like sensing that her eyes are like opening, she looks dead, but like back to her normal look. She doesn't look like the Deadite anymore.
She's playing with him.
She is. She's being a silly girl. Then he takes her body and he's like trying to like dump her into this like grave that he made. But Linda then rises from the grave as a Deadite and she attacks Ash again, ripping his leg to fucking shreds. Honestly, it's very graphic. It reminded me of like what you would see if like that was like a dog attack or like a animal attack. It was like very animalistic.
I didn't remember this part for some reason.
Yeah, very graphic. He tries to whack the shit out of her with a piece of wood, and she just keeps laughing and taunting him, and I fucking love this scene. It is hilarious.
Part of me wants to be as unbothered as she is.
Truly, truly. And you can kind of tell, too, that it's like some kind of dummy or something, which I think almost makes the scene better.
Absolutely.
When you know it's a dummy, it always is better.
Exactly.
There's a couple in there where he's like putting his full weight into it. Yeah. I love that.
He's so dedicated to the slapstick.
Yes. As she jumps onto him, he's actually able to grab a shovel and he decapitates her, and it's fucking epic. It's so good. It's so good.
I think this entire scene with her is phenomenal.
Everything about it is lovely. Do you feel like this is where Ash starts to kind of like become the Ash that we know later?
I think it's a little later. I think he's still a little shook because there's a couple other steps we got to go through first. But he's like, now he's in the thick of it. He's the only person left at this point. Like, he's it. So now we're going to get there.
Allie, what do you think?
I think there is a transition period where he kind of shifts. And to me, he shifts into this franchise's Han Solo.
Ah,
Don't you agree they're kind of similar characters?
Yeah, a little bit of an asshole.
Little bad boy, good guy, like a bad boy protagonist.
He's a dweeb and he's an asshole,
Yeah.
which is an interesting combination. So later on, he just becomes a badass that's also a huge dick.
You know what he is?
So he's a bad person.
He's a Venn diagram.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I would like to call him.
Yeah.
I like that.
And there's more overlap as time goes on.
I think we should start describing people as Venn diagrams.
Because I feel like another analogy we use all the time is layered, like Shrek, like an onion. But I kind of like a Venn diagram now. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Just overlapping.
Just overlap those circles.
Ash is now like completely alone in the cabin, minus fucking Cheryl. That's for a little later. And he finds that Cheryl is no longer in the cellar, so he thinks, and he searches for her like around the house. Cheryl then attacks him from outside a window, and he does take a shot at her with a shotgun, but it does not slow this bitch down. And she tries to get back inside. He takes himself down into the cellar to try to get more shotgun shells. And this is where I love this part of the film because it feels like the house really becomes alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to our earlier point of like this deadite energy, this demonic presence, this spirit, it feels like it can truly possess anything, including this house. One thing when he gets down there is he looks up at a pipe and there's like something wrapped around it, like sort of just a Band-Aid for a leak. And it just kind of like starts coming undone. And then all of a sudden it's just like blood coming out of this pipe. And in this scene, we see blood coming from the pipe, coming out of the walls, coming out of outlets. Like it is just like crazy. And then a video projector even turns on by itself. There's this shot of Ash where he's descending into madness. And I think that in my head is where we're starting to see the Ash that's going to come in to play in like the future films.
Sure. Yeah. I like that too. I think that this movie to me is two different movies in one. The first half and the second half, not necessarily like equal parts.
Yeah.
The first half is our horny teenagers go to a cabin, shit gets fucked up real fast. And then the second half is just Ash.
Yeah.
So it's the movie about the kids, and then it's Ash's movie.
And then it's after.
Yeah.
It's like the crew, after.
Yeah. What is it? Crew.
I was
What? What
I thought you were going to do another A plus B equals
sock or a K-hole.
Also, not another formula. I'm not good at math, Allie.
Me either, which is why we get in this mess.
One other thing I want to point out here too is with his like descend into madness, it's really reflected in the way that this scene is shot too. So there's like a lot of tight shots of his face, lots of angles, lots of like visual upset. It kind of makes you feel uncomfortable and you almost get like a little dizzy.
Yeah, and with that, the switches of two different movies, I feel like it switches with that too. It stylistically switches.
Yep.
So interesting. It literally is there's like a division in the film where you can see it change.
Ash looks at himself in the mirror and he like starts reaching for the glass with his hand and it sort of like disappears into the glass, but it becomes water. And he starts just like screaming, like, is this man going crazy? Yes. Rhetorical question.
The answer is yes.
And suddenly everything then goes quiet and Cheryl breaks her hand through the door that Ash was like leaning against. She like comes around to try to like choke the shit out of him and he is able to shoot her in the face. Then Scott, he comes back as a deadite. So now we have our first male deadite of the film.
Good for him.
and attacks Ash. Of course, everyone's trying to attack Ash. Like, what's fucking new? And we get this shot of the Necronomicon, and it's near the fire. This is like, we saw the book in the beginning when it was introduced to us, and we maybe saw it 1 or 2 times, but we didn't really see it again for like 30, 40 minutes. And then now all of a sudden it's back.
That's such a good point, is having a top build cast of the Necronomicon just being like 2 seconds of the film.
Truly. And just before Scott kills Ash, Ash is able to shove his thumbs into Scott's eyes. And then he opens another one of Scott's wounds by like pulling something that was like in his leg. Yeah. And it just starts like, it causes him to go down and basically like bleed out. I just feel like Raimi, especially in these scenes with the dead-eyed attacks, like we've already mentioned this a little bit, but there's such a combination of comedy and horror and gore. And they all work so cohesively together that, to your point, David, it's like it could still terrify you as a child, but even now as an adult, even if it still scares you like a tiny bit, you're recognizing it in a different way. And you're like, oh, here's some underlying comedy, or like, oh, here's some underlying like body horror and gore. I just love how they can all like live seamlessly together, and that different parts of your life watching this film, especially since you've seen it in different parts of your life, like you have probably different perspectives.
Yeah. You grow with it.
Yes, absolutely.
As you grow yourself, you know?
Yeah. It's poetic.
Cool. Yeah. Because again, right here, as a 15-year-old or whatever, horrified.
Yeah.
But I think back to what you're saying about Raimi is, I wonder if he knew that this would become his signature style, this black, dark gore, blood, pus, guts, and fast and quick and choppy, you know? Do you know what I mean? The style, it's so interesting.
I think he did what he could with obviously the budget and the constraints that he had. Part of it probably was a little bit, this is what he wanted to make, right? So he wouldn't have made it if it wasn't going to align with what like he actually wanted to produce and create and put out into the world. So yeah, actually I'm changing my answer. Like maybe he did kind of know this is like what he wanted. And he was like, okay, this is where my artist brain is. This is what I'm putting out into the world. Yes, I don't have a lot of budget, but this is still what I'm going to create. And then he like saw how it was received, and then almost had that validation of like, okay, I think I might be onto something. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is like, for a terrible comparison, but say on TikTok, you make a video and it starts to blow up and you're getting more notice, and you start making more videos like that, obviously.
Yeah.
So you find your style. And I wonder if that was his intention to lean that way, or he was just like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. It works. Yeah. I'm going to make money. Let's do it.
Making it up as you go along.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah. Then Cheryl, she comes back in and she attacks Ash in her like full Deadite form. Ash manages to retrieve the Necronomicon while being attacked by Scott and Cheryl. And he uses the necklace that he gave Linda to like sort of throws it in order to extend his arm so that he can grab the book. And he's able to kind of like bring it over to him. He then throws it into the fire, and as he throws it into the fire, Cheryl and the other Deadites, they all begin to like decay rapidly. Their bodies start to deteriorate into like really grotesque kind of melting forms, and these like large grotesque hands burst out of their bodies and they like essentially explode.
I don't know why everything brings me back to the witches.
Everything makes me think of you.
Like the rolled doll, Angelica Houston?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that was such a foundational film for you.
Woof. Fucking terrifying.
Is it because of the nails that come out of the bodies?
It's because of everything.
Yeah.
Being stuck in a painting, being turned into a mouse, having witches that turn into rats, convene in a hotel boardroom all together and turn into demons.
I think of a few things here just off the top of my head. One of them is I could see the witches. I could also see the Thing. That reminds me just like when it shoots through the chest,
yes.
You know, like that whole thing. And then speaking of things shooting through the chest, also Spaceballs. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my good time gal.
Yes.
Deep cut, but these are just the films I watched as a kid. They're all reminding me.
Nostalgia is nostalgia.
This is how you remind me
Who was that?
of what
Nickelback.
Are you fucking joking me?
And now you owe Roadrunner Records 9 cents or whatever
Damn
the
it.
rate is.
Not me. I didn't know the song.
You just sang it.
I didn't, did I?
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
You both sang it.
You did.
All those bands, they all sound Nickelback.
All those bands.
I listen to country. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, come on.
All right, come on.
But just the fact that the whole Ash is like, is it over? And then shit just keeps happening.
Yep.
And then finally, okay, is it over? All right. And
Never. And we even hear a last couple of like, please, like, join us.
Right.
Join us.
I think I love that sticks in my brain is the join, like, hey, maybe?
Yeah.
You sure? Join us?
not too late.
Yeah. And I think that beating this dead horse, this film is 2 movies to me. And the first half of this movie is the more serious, more trying to be a serious horror film. This is them trying to be like, we want to be taken seriously. And then the second half, Ash's film, is when the comedy comes in.
It's like, how fucking crazy and chaotic can we get?
Can we do it? Yeah, I think that's when they started to embrace that that's where this was going. And then it obviously leaned more and more into it through the other films. You know what's kind of interesting is they really just dropped off on the comedy, except for the show.
You mean as the franchise went
Yeah.
along? Well, I mean, you got the remake, if you want to call it that, which is definitely trying to be straight horror. And then, yeah, the TV show's like, let's go the total opposite direction. And I'm guessing the rest of the movies they keep putting that'll be strictly horror movies. I didn't see the last one, I didn't see the last one.
I saw Evil Dead Rise last year, and I liked it a lot, but it was scary. I didn't find a lot, if any, comedic elements. Like, it was definitely like trying to be scary.
And I think I've avoided watching those kinds of Evil Dead installments in this franchise because I don't want to lose the camp.
Which is so important. And okay, one thing too, because we're like almost done with this film. I want to close it out and then get your guys' like final thoughts. But something else about the chaos that we're experiencing in this second half of the film and like kind of the ridiculousness of it is that we're going to end on kind of that same note. Ash, he steps outside at dawn after all of this has gone on and all of these deadites are now melted little chocolate on the floor, whatever. And he's like seemingly safe. And then the camera returns to this like fast moving point of view through the forest, through the cabin, and an unseen force just like rushes towards Ash. And then it just like slams into him as the screen goes to black. And like that to me is the perfect, I don't know if you guys agree, but I felt like this is one of the best final shots in horror. It gets you. It's like, oh, the force is still there. Ash is not done. We're not done with this story. I just love that like POV shot of it just going through the cabin, going through the woods. You're not safe no matter where you are.
I learned today that final shot with the camera was mounted on a bike.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
that.
cool. I was just going to ask if like anyone knew, because obviously we had the 2 cameramen with the wood thing in the beginning.
Because you can see like when it gets up to his mouth, they have to do an after processed zoom in on his mouth where he's screaming.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Like you can see where the natural shot stops and then they must have gone in after and focused in on his mouth like it's going in.
Love it.
We need to go and watch this on like an HD movie theater size screen.
Seriously.
I'm waiting for you. You know, we talk about all the movies that keep getting put back in theaters. I would love to see any 3 of these, if not the whole thing.
Let's put it on our list. We're all going together if it happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're missing out by not doing that.
I'll bet you it's a rights thing.
So that is The Evil Dead. What was your guys' final thoughts?
I mean, there's just so many words to try to verbalize that it's impossible. But this, obviously, in particular, The Evil Dead is so important because it is the foundation for this franchise that turned into something that it didn't even knew it was going to be. Yeah. You know, I just love this idea that both Bruce and Sam were both, let's throw this together. It's not going to work. It probably won't work. And then it just was so, not instantly, but wildly successful in the end. It's just crazy to me. How in the world does such a pipe dream work out for them?
I think sometimes that's when films like that can work out the best, is when you've taken down all of the mental barriers and all of the blockers that might keep you from putting it out there in the world. And you're saying, fuck it, we don't care what the reception's going to be because we know what we made in our heart. And we're like proud enough at least to like put it out there. And those are the projects I love to see, is when there's just no expectation. They have no idea. I mean, even speaking of like Iron Lung recently, Mark Plyer is a YouTube guy, and he
Yes.
put out this horror film, and he's like, he was just excited to make this piece of work and put it out there. He was not expecting it to get the positive praise that it did. And kind of like these guys, it was self-funded too. So it just, I don't know. I think there's something extra special about films like that.
I also think we kind of wish it was us, which is why.
Fully agree.
Yeah.
Think of how many of these low budget movies got sprung from, hey, if they did it, we could do it.
Exactly. What would have happened if they had never made this film, if this had never happened? Think about everything that came from this. It's such a foundation in my life and in horror that it's so important. And it's so special to me because it's my big brother. This franchise is my brother.
David, I want to know your final thoughts.
Oh, man, what can I say except this is foundational for me? This is the one that broke me. I mean, maybe there was some stuff in Evil Dead 2 that might have got to me too, but this is the one. Nothing could top this for me. Yes, it's cheesy and outdated, and I get kids now going, why do you like this? Let alone when you get to Army of Darkness and they're just like, dude, that skeleton is not even moving. Why do you like this so much?
Something I love about it.
And you know, a lot of these guys are this guys going, dude, I love the 2013 Evil Dead. I don't get why you like this. And I go, that's fine. That's your Evil Dead. This is mine. But again, like, not just me, but the influence on the world at large this thing's had. And you can see little bits and pieces of different things. Like we said, Cabin in the Woods, but like it transcends even that, where you can just find so many different places this thing's influenced, so many different permutations of this thing that have evolved throughout the years. And I'm glad people still appreciate it for what it is. I know for a lot of people that like this franchise, this is the only one they like.
I've heard that. I have heard that, especially if they haven't. I feel like people that saw, like us, that saw Army of Darkness first, it's almost like if they saw Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 first, they almost like hate Army of Darkness and they prefer the first one.
Yeah.
The kind of people, noticed.
Yeah, the kind of people that only prefer the first Terminator.
Yeah, exactly.
Have fun with that. I'm going to have my Guns N' Roses and Edward Furlong shitty haircut.
Yeah.
Going through puberty on screen, Yeah, but no, classic in every sense of the word. Hell of a way to kick off a trilogy. It's perfect for what it is.
What about you, Em?
Well, I think we can all agree. I mean, I agree with everything you guys said. You guys, I feel like we're very much aligned in our thoughts on this film. I think we can all agree too that it really does a lot for low budget horror, both in the past and in the future. We have no idea how many low budget films it has already inspired and how many it will in the future. It's just so cool to me that a low budget horror film made by two best friends who have enjoyed this since they were literal children have this now to look back on for literally the rest of their lives. And even Bruce Campbell, like, very, very popular actor. He has been able to like piggyback on the success of this throughout his entire career. And he has done really, really well with it. I mean, he's so popular when we go to conventions. Like, he truly is like a horror icon. And Sam Raimi, iconic director. I mean, I think because Sam Raimi is also still making films, it's cool to see where he started and where he's come. And it's just so fun.
It's almost insane to see where he started and where he's come.
Truly.
To me, he's lived two different worlds. Think about The Evil Dead, and then think about fucking Drag Me to Hell.
Spider-Man.
Totally.
Spider-Man.
I forget about that all the time. Also, like, Send Help just recently released and was really good. The producer and I went to go see it and we were like, damn, this is a really good film. And even though it wasn't like so clear that it was Sam Raimi, you saw his influences in there. You knew, like, as soon as you knew he was directing it, you're like, I see his style, his stuff is in there, you know?
But it's great to see that he's still holding true, even maybe not still like to that extent, but he still holds true to his roots of horror. And I love him. I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I also have this weird, like, small thing I just want to mention, which is I love that the main Deadites in this film are all women. I just think there's something cool about how they're not the victims here. Like, I mean, I guess technically they were, but, you know, they have come back and they're like, no, fuck you. I'm a fucking Deadite now. And I just think that's fucking cool.
Real fast, they're probably a symbol for sirens.
Yep.
Trying to keep these men in this house and kill them and swallow their souls.
And I don't know if they still do this, but they used to travel together to all the conventions as the Women of Evil Dead. And they signed a picture for me. The only signature I don't have is the guy that played Scott, because apparently he didn't start going to conventions till years later, because he didn't know this movie had a life of its own until he started going. But no, so I got the signatures from all three of them and Bruce Campbell, and they were all awesome. And I don't know if they're still going to shows together like that, but when I was in the thick of it, they were doing that, and they were all sweet and awesome and had a bunch of cool stories.
I believe all three of them were at the convention we went into in Texas.
They still travel together, and I think that's amazing.
Good to hear.
And they're so like humble about it. Like they feel, obviously people love Bruce Campbell, right? Like he's a star in his own right. And then there are the newer kids that have joined the Evil Dead cast. And
we saw some at Creep IE.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. But like those ladies, I don't think they recognize what icons they are.
Yes.
And like, it's just so cool to see how much they dedicated to the film and how many risks they took. This was a very risky film back then. I mean, even just like the tree assault scene in itself, like, whew.
Not only that, but to risk putting yourself in a film that the crew won't give it a rating.
Yeah.
They're fucking with your career right there just by doing that.
Yep. And we talk about this all the time, but I fucking hate how there is this taboo that if you are in horror, like you can't get any real like acting jobs or what have you. And I just feel the tides are turning finally now in 2026. In the last 10, 15 years, people are being recognized as true actors and actresses based on the work that they've done in horror. And it's so cool to see these trailblazing women that did it way back when.
Well, if you think about cyclicalness, horror, all of those great Universal pictures were not thought of as like corny and campy. They were beautiful horror films. It's coming back around potentially.
It's coming back. I love it.
This podcast in particular was so special to me, and I want to thank producer and Emma for letting me bring my big brother David to come join us.
Thank you all for having me.
A wealth of knowledge, and just so happy to share the love of horror and just movies in general with you. It's such a bonding thing for us, and I want to thank you for bringing it into my life. You're literally half of the reason we're all sitting here right now. So thank you.
Absolutely.
We love you, David. You know I've been chatting movies with you for over 10 years now.
This
and
is very true.
I am very honored to have you on our pod today.
And definitely not the last time we're having this treasure trove of knowledge with us on our podcast today. But David actually has his own shit that he does because he's amazing.
I do. Thank you. So my buddy Jason and I started a podcast maybe 8 years ago because we would be at parties, and the whole time it would just be him and I going back and forth going, okay, who's your top 5 favorite bassists, or what's your top 5 favorite songs from this band? What's your top 5 favorite songs to drive to somewhere on a long road trip or whatever? And we decided, hey, maybe we ought to make a show out of this. So we did. And it's called The Metal List because we list things about metal. And we go from the lightest end of the spectrum might be Bon Jovi. The heaviest end of the spectrum might be, we're going to do Disgorge from San Diego, brutal death metal band Disgorge coming up the next episode. And you can find us everywhere at The Metal List. We're at Metal List Podcast on all the socials. But yeah, I hope you find something you like on there. There's also some great shows coming up that I'm a part of in some way or another. There's one that's a benefit show for veteran suicide awareness, Saturday, April 11th, 2026, at Brick by Brick in San Diego. Lots of great bands for a great cause. Then there's also another, last year my buddy put on a show that's basically one of those emo night things, but it's live with live musicians, and they're all rotating and doing a bunch of cool songs. It's called Not a Phase, and that'll be May 15th, also at Brick by Brick. Shout out to Brick by Brick.
Yeah, I literally, we just looked at each other like we got to go to that emo night. Yeah, I want to reiterate, thank you so much, David, for joining us and being our first like official guest of the pod.
Oh, it's all the more honor. Thank you.
This is very exciting. But everyone, that was The Evil Dead. And you can find us, the Spooky Chicks, on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. And if you want some bonus content, please come over and join our Spooky Chicks social club over on Patreon. We actually just started our next round of our book club, so feel free to join that. It's not too late. But you all know the best way that you can support our show is just by sharing us with another horror-loving friend. And with that, Allison, would you like to take us out?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Try to avoid Kandarian demons in the middle of the woods. Always invite your horror-loving brother to be on your podcast, and stay spooky fuckers.